and welcome back to my channel. So I'm back with another bookish video, and this is actually a book review. So I am here to talk about We Should Get Together by VELLOS, and it's all about friendship. So this is something that the opportunity to review this book actually fell in my lap because my best friend happens to know the author, so I was able to get in contact with her and get a copy of the book to read and talk to you guys about it. And I'm super excited because I'm sure you guys know I'm an introvert. I tend to like, hanging out with people in small groups and all of that kind of thing. And I've also moved several times since I was in high school. So, I've made 2 international moves. I've moved to different areas in the US, and making friends is hard. So this book is just such a great idea just for life in general, but also just for me personally. It came at a really good time where I'm actually, feeling more stable with where I live now and thinking, maybe I should work on making some more friends. So, oh my gosh, this book. So I'm gonna put a little inset up here, or one of these sides, somewhere up here, of the cover, because I don't actually have the physical book to kind of show you guys. But basically, this book has all of the research that Kat has done on friendship. And it's really interesting because, for example, she says that the quality and the types of friendships you have are a better predicator of how long you will live than even your family. And I just think that's so interesting because, a lot of people I feel like in my generation, we're early 30s, that kind of thing. It's all about that time of family and settling down and finding a significant other and all of that. And it's that time of life where friendships kind of fall to the wayside. And I'm definitely guilty of that myself. I've definitely, because of how I've moved around, it has been easier to just cultivate being alone. So, cultivating hobbies that allow me to do things that I really enjoy, but that don't require anyone else to actually do them. And also to cultivate online friendships, because that's just been easier with me moving around and all of this, to have people that are always going to be there because they are online. And honestly, I've been really lucky in that some of my friendships that I have formed online have actually turned into friendships in real life, which is fantastic. But making friends is not something that I am very good at or comfortable at doing. I think, have any of you seen that meme where it's basically an introvert makes friends by finding an extrovert who's just I like you, we're gonna be friends now? That's honestly how it works a lot of the time. So the thing that I really like about this book is that Kat goes through, she explains why having friends are important, because I think that a lot of us who are really comfortable with being alone, we're well, I don't really need, I've got people that I talk to, or my family, I don't really need any more friends. And it really dives into why is it actually important for you to have friends and for you to avoid just being completely isolated in your day-to-day life, which is a good reminder for me because I'm definitely guilty of that. And it also goes into what are the aspects of friendship in general that are really important. And let me actually grab some of my book notes. So one of the things that I did is, I have my journal here, and when I read books that I really want to take notes from, I tend to write them in my journal. I don't know why I decided to do that. I've just done it for the last journal or 2. So this one, for example, she talks about the seeds of connection, and it's proximity, frequency, compatibility, and commitment. And it's basically this idea that these 4 things play factors into whether or not your friendship is going to actually blossom. And depending on who you are, as a person, your personality, what sort of time of your life you're in, what your needs are, the amount that each of those 4 things matters is going to vary. And so it's such a useful section because there are certain things where, as I was reading the section, for example, on proximity, where you're oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There are these people that I hung out with all the time that it was because of proximity. We were really good friends, but if we hadn't lived that close together, we never would have been friends like that. Or, people that you're I don't see them very often, but we're extraordinarily compatible. So anytime we do meet up, it's no time has passed. And so really just learning to sort of analyze the the friendships in my life that have actually worked and the ones that haven't, and figure out which are the things that are actually the most important for me. So for example, personally, I'm the kind of person where I don't need to see my friends all the time, and I actually feel really overwhelmed if there's like constant contact. And so for me, having that compatibility and having that, being able to check in and like have these like really interesting conversations, but maybe we don't talk more than, you know, once every couple of weeks or once every couple of months, like that's okay for me. But it also is a good reminder for me that just because I'm okay with those kinds of friendships doesn't mean that I don't need to have people that I see more regularly in my life, even if it's not for very long periods of time. And honestly, this review is going to be all over the place, as you can tell, like it's already all over the place. But basically, you should read this book. If you struggle with making friends, which I feel like most people who are like outside of college age do, just because once you get out of college, like things change in terms of how you make friends. This book is so good because Kat, she goes into all of like the whys and wherefores of friendship, but then she also says, okay, here's what you can actually do. Here's what you need to do to figure out what your friendship style is. Here's what you need to do if you have friendships that like you would love to work, but something's not quite working yet. Like here's how you can try and have that conversation. And you know, here you don't have as many friends as you would like to have. Here's what you can do to try and change that. Or you have friends where you always do the same things and you want to do different things. Here's how you can work on that. And they, you know, she talks about like people who are super busy. How can you work on getting friends into your life? And people who are, you know, parents. How can you work on not having your kids become your whole life? How can you keep, you know, your friends group from like shrinking so much? And just all of these different factors that I think are things that a lot of us like eventually try and navigate ourselves. Now there's a guidebook for it. So I am super excited. So to be perfectly honest, I had not even finished reading the book and I've already gotten ideas. So I have an acquaintance that I have reached out and we're, you know, trying to see if there might be a deeper friendship that can form. I've got close friends that I'm trying to reach out more and be more consistent about reaching out, because I've realized that, you know, time passes and you don't realize how much time has passed and you're like, oh, it's actually not been 2 weeks since I talked to them, it's been 2 months. And so trying to work on these things and trying to find the areas where, you know, I struggle with making friends, trying to figure out like if things aren't working, why is it not working? Like there, even just having read like half of the book, there's so much information and so many things that you can take away and work on in terms of making friendships, making your existing friendships better, and also trying to develop new friendships that I honestly couldn't wait to talk to you guys about it before I even finish the book. But also I am planning to reread the book as soon as I finish and like go back through and take some notes. And there's, you know, like little quizzes you can do, there's analyses that you can do, there's, you know, exercises that you can take away from this, and just there's so much information in this book that it is definitely going to be the kind of book that I keep on my bookshelf. You know, I have certain nonfiction books, certain fiction books, but specifically with nonfiction, I have certain nonfiction books that I like to have a physical copy of that I can go back and reread periodically, and this is going to be one of them because it is so important. And especially in this day and age, like I know that I personally have allowed a lot of my friendships to kind of stay in the digital sphere just because that's what has been the easiest for, you know, dealing with work, for, you know, moving overseas. And when I moved overseas, I didn't have anyone else who was here. I had to make friends from scratch. And I've made a couple of really good friends like over the past couple of years, but it hasn't been that easy. And so this is, you know, I wish that I had this resource the first time that I moved overseas, because honestly, I think it would have changed so much. And so I'm really glad that it exists now, and that going forward, I can use it to kind of help me bring more meaningful relationships into my life and to, you know, keep nourishing the relationships that already exist. So yeah, this is a super random review. I honestly, you should read the book. I didn't want to give too many details because honestly, you should just read this book, read it and reread it and share it with friends, because I think it is going to be a game changer in how a lot of us, especially of kind of the early 30s generation, and you know, later on it'll change, but I think this is going to be a game changer in how a lot of us, especially in cities, look at our relationships and how we go about, you know, maintaining them. And I think it's going to be great too. So in the way that social media has made it much more acceptable to talk about money and budgeting and finances, I think that this book is going to make it much more acceptable to talk about, hey, here's what I need from a friendship, here's what I'm able to give. Like, are we going to be able to meet halfway, or do we need to each find other people that are going to fulfill the friendship needs in our lives? And I think this book is just going to be really important for opening conversations amongst existing friends and new friends, and just making it more acceptable to talk about, like, these are my emotional needs as a person, what are yours? Like, how can we work together to make sure that this friendship is good for both of us? So if you think this is a topic that is at all interesting and relevant to your life, which I feel like for most of us it is, I would highly recommend reading the book. I am going to go and finish reading it and reread it again after that and take notes, because honestly, I think this is such an important resource to like finally have that. Yeah, definitely do it. Just read it. Also, definitely check out all of Kat's information. I'll put it down in the description box. So I'll put down her website, her Instagram. She also has another Instagram that is better than small talk. So different question prompts that you can ask instead of like, hey, what do you do for a living? Like, honestly, just great information. So that is all I have for you guys today. Just a quick little video review. Let me know if you have comments, questions. If you read the book, let me know what you thought of it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Hey guys, so if you've made it all the way to the end of this video and are actually watching my end screen and you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would. There's a little button right there for you to do it. And if you're interested in watching some more of my videos, I have links to 2 of my older videos off to the left there, so you can check those out if you would like to, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.